classic mistake. Didn't put my microphone on and actually power it on. Great, honestly. Anyhow, we got our wiring specialties diagram here. Pin out for the ECM harness, ECM connector. And then we got the diagnostic procedure for ignition signal. Oh, we got to start with, does the engine turn on? No, it does not. Turn, and then it says go to 3. And then we turn ignition switch on. Ignition switch is on. And then we got check voltage between ECM terminals 38, 47, and ground with console 2 or tester. The main problem I'm having right here is how do I get this focus? How do I get this in here? For the sake of time, because I don't think my leads on that tester are thin enough, they're not thin enough to get in there, I'm going to have to look up how to better test those. We're going to assume that those are good. We're going to assume that those are getting power and everything's good, because if the ECM didn't get power from those two signals and the wires look good, I don't think other things would work. I could be wrong, but I don't know. But this says go to 4. There's a condenser right here, and it's right here on the engine bay, which is very close to where the idle air control valve is. And I don't know if this is working. It looks like it's been taken apart because this is electrical tape here. So maybe they were having a trouble with this before. I don't know. We're going to take that apart and do that part of the diag. See what that gets us. Get you guys in here for a closer look. This is all that tape stuff that was on there. Just, I don't know what it was. Scotch tape or whatever. But this was taped to this. I don't know. Never seen this. Never dove into this. But it was taped right like that. I guess I don't know why, but it was taped. But tape went around this section here. Look at where those wires go in. Doesn't look good. So we're going to do the diagnostics on this. I'm assuming this R, I think it means replace battery. I don't know. But when I put this on the battery, because it should have 12 volts all the time, right? I don't know. Should. See that? It says nothing, and it just says a dash. So I'm assuming that means replace battery. To avoid shock, remove inputs before closing, close cover before use. Fuse 20.5 amp. Yeah, I don't know. Take it apart. See what Taking this thing apart, there is a 9-volt battery. Looks like a no-name brand. Gowley. Heavy duty. I don't know. Never been replaced probably. So, and the fuse. I don't know if you can see that. Looks good. Looks good to me. It's not broken. So, all right. We got new battery in here. Better work. Here we go. Ground. Positive. We got 12 volts. Okay. There we go. Oh my God. That's not good. That needs to be cleaned, I believe. Let me get you in. So this is this connector here. I don't know how well you can see that. Come on, man, focus. This isn't too bad. There's like that adhesive from the tape is in here. That's what it looks like. You can probably see it better on this connection here. It looks like the tape got that hot that it melted. It's either that or that's dielectric grease, but I doubt that. Oh my. Let me get that cleaned out. Doing my best to clean this. But if you can see, I think the adhesive from that glue got all up in these connections, like down into the connector. This was very, I mean, it was on there pretty, it was sticky. I cleaned down there as much as I could. I guess I could get like electrical parts cleaner, maybe goof off or something. I don't know. But you can see that? That is gunked with adhesive. Let's do the test, see if it gets 12 volts. That's wild. I've never seen that. That's interesting. We got our ignition on. We should have 12 volts at the top terminal. So the horizontal one, if you're looking at the plug, one that goes on this blade right here. Test this on the battery. Cool, we got a decent ground. I don't know if you guys can see that or not. I just pulled the ground out. That's phenomenal. The key on, this should be getting 12 volts. I don't believe it is. You can use this as a ground because that should be a ground. That's not getting any volts. Since not last week's video, but the week before that, where I was actually working on the car, we've made some headway in the diagnostics list. Now, there is a relay behind the ECU, where the ECU sits. It sits behind the relay. And there's a 6 fin, I call them fins, blades, 6 blade wire connector that goes onto there. And on the troubleshooting steps, I'll show you. Another diagnostic test that they had us do, they being Lochlan, because he was the one that gave me these diagnostic troubleshooting steps. I'll show you in a sec when I can find it. Is where is it? Check condenser ground circuit for open and short. Turn ignition switch to off. Check harness continuity between condenser terminal 2 and engine ground. Condenser terminal 2, I'll show you in a second. Maybe. These pages are getting wild. There's a lot of pages, a lot of diagrams. Oh, that page is in the car. Okay, condenser terminal 2 is this small one, the one on the bottom of the condenser. Condenser terminal 1. So it says to check repair open circuit or short power and harness or connectors. Check. Also check harness for short to power. Don't know how to do that. So this is condenser terminal 2 and engine ground. So the terminal is this. This is the other part of the wire. This is the bottom right here where my thumb is. The top is 1. Actually, you know what? I didn't check that. I checked continuity between the ECM relay and I checked continuity on 6 or 7. I think it was 6 or 7. No, I did, yeah, maybe 6 and 7. Apply 12 volt current between ECM relays terminal 1 and 2. Check continuity between ECM relay terminals 3, 5, 6, and 7. I haven't done this step. I checked continuity between, it was either 6 and 7, or it was either 6 or 7, and the 1 pin on the actual condenser harness connector. So let's check. It says check condenser continuity between terminals 1 and 2. We have our condenser here with all of its gunky. Someone put tape around this where it connects, and it's got just all the adhesive inside of here. Like it's down, I don't know if you can see that. It's down all the way to like the connectors, these blades that are in here. Either way, we're going to take this thing and we're going to check it for continuity. Okay. Definitely on the right settings, but so I think the problem is this is old and crusty and now sticky. And also, when we had to check here, where was it? ECM relay terminal 7 and ground. I don't think that was getting power. Let's double check that. Let's climb into the car, make sure we have this on the right pin. Okay, we got a bunch of stuff going on here. But we got our alligator clamp on a little blade connector in terminal 7, as shown here. Terminal 7. Let's go outside. Let's go outside the car and ground this puppy, because we should be getting power out of there, and I don't believe we are. On battery ground, 6, 7 volts. That's not enough volts. That's not good, because it says on the paper when we check voltage that the voltage should be battery voltage. Okay, well that's not good, so go to 8. Okay, check the following. 10 amp fuse. Okay, I don't know what 10 amp fuse we need to go to, so we need to figure out that. Harness connectors F4, M60, harness connectors M10, E101, harness for open and short between ECM relay and fuse. Huh. So that's what we got to do. We got to find F4 and M60 and then M10 and E101. So like I was saying before, refer to EL power. Okay, let's look in the wiring diagram slash, not wiring diagram, but let's look in the documents for this EL power. After looking into these diagrams, the wires that I'm looking for, see that 15 amp fuse in the end? When there's a 10 amp, I think that's for fogs or something. And then there's another 10 amp and another 10 amp. Those correspond with these two wires. So they're connected somehow. I don't know. We can't see them because it's underneath the fuse. This one goes over to an ECM relay. And this one goes to also the ECM relay. And then splits over to all of this, the ignition coils. Interesting, because we don't have enough power coming out of ECM relay pin 7. So that means that this wire going to these two, whatever these are, I don't even know what these are, which it says non-detectable for DTC. So it doesn't even matter if we would have a console cable. We need to take this out of here and check this. I think this is our main source of problem here. Could be a break or something in the wire here. Could be a break here, could be a break here, could be a break here. I'm assuming that W means white. And this WB would mean white brown. I don't know. But we're going to try. And then this going over I guess this would be also not testable. This line. We have to test the lines that aren't testable with the console cable, which good thing I didn't go out and buy that, because then I'd be in the same boat that I am right now. Let's try and get... Oh, we need to try and get this fuse box taken apart, or these panels up at least, so we can get to those wires. I think we're going to go ahead and disconnect the battery for this, just in case something shorts. Who knows? Never know what could happen. I can see little tabs on this box, and it seems to all be one piece. Three. Oh my goodness. And they all go over to here and then out this harness. Most of them go out of this harness in the bottom. That goes down through goes down under the headlight. Oh my. Ooh. Universe is testing me right now. I need to find a way to actually get to these fuses. Okay, so we don't have the correct voltage here, and all my fuses are good. Harness connectors F4, M60, M10, and E101, which are all nearly impossible to get to. I visually inspected. What I could see is they're fine. I'll put up some diagrams. I'm running out of ink. I'll put some diagrams on the screen though. So we're going to assume the relay is good because it was working before, but we can take this out maybe next week and tackle that too, or do it while it's in the car. This, check condenser ground circuit for open and short. Turn ignition switch off. Check harness continuity between condenser terminal 2, so that was the lower one, and engine ground. For the wiring diagram, continuity should exist, so we should get no ohmage on that, or very little. Also check harness for short to power. Don't know how to do that. So if it's okay, go to 11, which check condenser. We check that. I don't think that's good either, but I also don't know how good this multimeter is either. So a lot of factors going on here. Lots of unknowns. But regardless, we got the condenser off, so we can check continuity on this engine ground, and it should be 0, no resistance, and see how that goes. Pretty sure I didn't have to pull these up. I don't know. I'm gonna put them back in. We got battery hooked back up, so we have an actual engine ground. gonna take this off of here. We're not checking that part right now. And check continuity between this terminal here. We could stick that in there. Perfect. And engine ground. So engine ground is not battery ground. I almost put that on battery. That's 0. Okay, that's good. That is good. Whew. I don't know if you can see that, but okay. Come on now. Yeah, that's resting at 0. Okay, cool. So I'm going to start doing this. You know what I just realized? We should start marking these things off on the checklist. I'm going to try and explain this the best way that I possibly can. This first step here that I did was I checked the battery voltage on the condenser, terminal 1, the top one. It got 0 volts. Okay, so that's not good. It should be 12 volts. It should be the battery voltage. So then you go to step 5, and it says to check continuity between ECM relay, terminal 6, and condenser, terminal 1. Which I did, and it's a 1. Meaning there's resistance in the wire. All right, my audio cut out. Where were we? Okay, we checked this condenser terminal 1 for voltage. Got 0. Not good, right? No good. Go to 5. Okay. We checked for continuity between ECM relay terminal 6 and condenser terminal 1, which is the same one that we just checked for power. We got a 1, which means there's some amount of resistance in that wire that goes from this condenser terminal 1 to ECM relay terminal 6. However way you want to look at it, if it goes from there to there. I'm assuming it goes from here to here. Not good. Also need a new multimeter, I think. I don't think this one's very accurate, but we're working with what we got, all right? So that leaves us to step 7, which we did. Actually, well, 6 says check the harness for open or short between ECM relay and condenser. Repair open circuit or short to ground or short to power in harness or connectors. I gotta take some time and learn how to do this, and yeah. So I moved on to step 7. Check voltage between ECM relay terminal 7 and ground. I did that. It says key off. I had the key off, and there was only 7 volts. Not good. Put a check mark here. My fuses are good. I looked at the harness connectors. It says to inspect for step 8. Look at fuses, look at harness connectors. They don't look like they've ever been moved or touched, ever. Harness for open and short between ECM relay and fuse. Didn't check that. So that could, I don't know. It also says refer to component inspection EC119, which is checking the ECM relay, which I need to be able to shoot power to the terminals 1 and 2 on there. I gotta wait to do that because I have no way to do that right now. Moving on to step 10, it says turn ignition switch off, check harness continuity between condenser terminal 2 and engine ground. That is good. That showed 0, so we have a ground. And then it says go to 11, step 11. Check condenser. Refer to component inspection EC119. We did that, and I'm pretty sure we got a 1 on that as well. I'm going to go check and then 1 because it says to check for continuity. It says if this is no good, replace the condenser. I'm not convinced that the condenser is faulty because I'm not convinced that the multimeter is. I'm not 100% sure that the multimeter is actually reading what it should be reading. And furthermore, the connections on that condenser are gummed up with a bunch of adhesive from the tape that was on there. And then it says to check ignition coil power supply circuit. I did this with the car on and not on. But it says that, yeah, it said to check with the key on. And I got nothing on cylinder 1 and 2. So the front 2 cylinders. So 0 volts. That one is also checked. So it says no good, go to 13, detect malfunctioning part. Check the harness for open or short between ignition coil and ECM relay terminal 7. Okay. I guess we could do continuity between terminal 7 and the ignition coils. I don't know how this system works completely. But check ignition coil. Okay, 14 says turn ignition switch off. Check harness continuity between ignition coil terminal 2, so the center one here, and engine ground. Refer to wiring diagram. Continuity should exist. So this is also something that we can do next week, because if there's not continuity between the ground of the coil connector and the engine, then, well, no ground, no power, all that good stuff. And then it also says check engine harness for short to power. So assuming that these were good after we tested them, it says check ignition coil output signal circuit for open and short. Disconnect ECM harness connector. Check harness continuity between ECM terminals 1, 3, 5, 25, and ignition coil terminal 3. Refer to wiring diagram. Okay. So what I'm assuming is 1, let's just say 1 on this. This is the pin out for the ECM. 1 is ignition signal 1. 5 is ignition signal 3. 3 is ignition signal 2. And 25 is ignition signal 4. So the wires going from the harness to these wires on the harness for ignition signal go to the third pin on the, right here, the third pin on the ignition coil connector, if that makes sense. We're learning. Thank you for watching this far in the video. Oh, every time. This is a learning curve for me, a big learning curve, because I've never really had to dive into a bunch of electrical stuff. I think it is I don't think it's related to me taking off my idle air control valve. I think it's a fluke that I cleaned that and it didn't happen. My father-in-law wants to test that piece. I'm assuming what we're going to do is plug power into it, see if it actually, if the solenoid or the control valve actuates. I don't know. But that explanation is, I'm barely wrapping my head around this right now. And we still have 3 or 4 or 5 things to test. If you remember from the beginning of the video, I wasn't able to check the ECM connector terminals because I don't have anything that's small enough to stick in there to actually get a good connection. I'll work on that and then getting the ECM relay out so that we can check, see if it's clicking, see if we can audibly hear it. But if you have any tips, tricks, questions, comments, concerns, put them down below, because if you're not as lost as I am, you might have something that, you might have a piece of advice that would help me out. And I would greatly appreciate it. But also, if you stuck along this far in the video, you know that this car is, I just want to get it running and driving. I just want to be able to drive this thing at like highway speeds, preferably. But it's already down now. We're in the end of September, and I might only have, if it was running tomorrow, I'd probably have about a month left. Starting to get cold here, and I don't want to put this thing on the roads in the salt. So let's get it running so that I can drive it once or twice, maybe, even if it is slow, and go from there. It's really looking like these brakes are going to be a next year problem. And that's okay, because life goes on and the car will sit and trickle charge all summer, not summer, all winter. And it is what it is. But either way or how, my rant is over. I appreciate you following the build / I want to fix my car. And I'm not going to stop uploading videos. So you stop in here every Wednesday, sometimes Thursday, if it's bad. Sometimes every Wednesday, most times every Wednesday. It works 98% of the time, all the time. And see a video about my car, even if it isn't running. I appreciate you. Thank you for following along. Let me know if you want merch. I'm gonna make it anyways. I'm gonna get at least my own sweater so that people can go, oh, what's that? What's that? What are you wearing? And I'll go, I run a YouTube page. Anyhow, I'll catch you next week on Zention Works. Hopefully the car starts. I don't know. Can't guarantee anything. I appreciate it. Zention Works is out.